All right, guys, take a minute, make sure you're turning to page 4. So yesterday we practiced distributing. Today we're gonna practice combining like terms. So just a reminder, I just stuck in your grades for those 2 boom decks that should be done. It's 10 points for each boom deck, so some of you only got 10, some of you didn't do either, so be sure you're getting those completed and then mark them as done, so I know to go back in and check them. Otherwise, I won't be checking again unless it's turned in. So I checked initially after it's due. Maybe give you a couple extra days to hopefully get it done, but just a reminder to go back and do that. So today we're gonna practice some more combining like terms. Do you see how that's what's boxed here? So yesterday we practiced distributing. Today we're practicing combining like terms. What do you think we'll end up doing next week? Both. We'll have to distribute and combine. All right, so our Chromebook should now be closed. We should be on page 4 in our packets. My goodness, turns all the way up. Okay. Now, remember, we can combine anything that is alike, and it is alike, Anderson Porter, if it has the same variable or it's missing that variable, right? We can combine constants and we can combine variable terms if it has that same thing. You can throw the marker away or put it away, but you shouldn't be writing on yourself. What do you need, dear?
I already know the answer to the one, it's -5n.
Yes. So just like when we're combining our constants, we're really looking at our coefficients here. So we're thinking -3 minus 2, or when we combine, we can also think -3 plus a -2, right? So if I were to draw those out, if we're still rusty with our integers, we would have -5. And what are both of those being multiplied by? N, right? I would say I have -5n. Then I'm just going to bring down my equal sign, and I'm bringing down my -15. Just like we did yesterday, right? Except now we're combining instead of distributing. Good. So when I have a number next to a letter, it's telling me they're being multiplied, and to undo multiplication, I divide and I show division with a fraction bar. I have to divide both sides by -5. Be sure you include the sign that comes with the coefficient. So be sure you are showing this work and understanding what it is that you're writing. It's important that you know how to show your work, right? So -5 divided by -5 is 1. 1n we could just write as n. I'm bringing down my equal sign. -15 fraction bar -5. That fraction bar means divided by. So I could put that into my calculator, or you should know that 15 divided by 5 is 3. Negative divided by negative is positive. So n equals 3. Now, if you were putting this back in, you could, right? -3 times 3 would be -9. -2 times 3 would be -6. So -9 minus 6 would be -15. You see how you can go back and think through that to be sure it makes sense? All right. So what can I combine in number 2? The 5r and the 4r, they're like terms. So I have a +5 and a +4 to make a total of +9. And don't forget your r. Bring down my equal sign, bring down my -18. anytime I have a number next to a letter, it tells me that I am multiplying, so I have to divide both sides by 9. Why do I divide both sides by 9? Because I want to know what 1r equals, and anything divided by itself is 1. -2. Again, you could go back and think through it. -10 minus 8 is -18. Okay. I wonder, just ever so randomly, sometimes my sound doesn't work in my videos. So I wonder if I'm closer to that mic. I don't know. Okay. What can I combine in number 3? The n and the 6n. Good. Because if I have 6n and then there's one more n, even though we don't have the coefficient here, we know that our coefficient would be 1. 1 plus 6 is 7n. And then what do I do with that 5? I just bring it down, right? It just comes down. Then I'm bringing down my equal sign and my -2. Now, we're just at the two-step equation part. So you see that it's very important that you understand how to do two-step equations. And if you haven't done well on that quiz yet, use this as good practice and retake it, right? Remember, in our two-step, our first step is to add or subtract. Our second step is to multiply or divide. So adding or subtracting gets rid of our constant. See our constant here? It's +5. We need the same number of negatives. So I need 5 negatives or -5. And whatever I do to the left side of my equal sign, I have to do to the right. Then I draw this big line to show that I'm working down these columns. I'm bringing down my 7n. 5 minus 5, hasta la bye-bye, because that's 0, right? What's -2 minus 5? -7. And what else did I forget to bring down between them? Anytime I have a number next to a letter, it denotes multiplication. It's saying 7 times n. So I have to divide both sides by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1n I write as n. I bring down my equal sign. What's -7 divided by 7, Anders? -1. Excellent. Anything divided by itself is 1, but I have a negative divided by a positive, so my answer has to be negative. What can I combine in number 4? Good. Now be careful that you include the -3, right? We include the sign with our term. So I'm just going to bring down this -4. I'm saying -3 plus 5. What is it, Anders? 2. Excellent. So what do I need in front of my 2? Is it negative? It's positive, so I need a plus, right? Don't forget about your B. Bring down your equal sign and your -6. Now, again, it's two-step equation. So here's my constant. I get that it moved a little bit. However many negatives, I need that many positives so it can equal 0. So I'm going to do what to both sides of my equal sign? Add 4. Add 4. So -4 plus 4, that goes hasta la bye-bye. It's 0. I bring down my 2b. To be or not to be? And -2, right? -6 plus 4. And you're right, this is the same answer as number 3, because when I divide both sides by 2 to get 1b, it is -1. -2 divided by 2 is -1. Okay, questions on page 4. Do you see how we're just kind of looking at a different layer? We're still doing two-step equations. All right, let's practice a few more because some of these we're not combining variable terms, like number 5. They flipped it on us. That's okay. But what can we combine on the right side of our equation? The regular numbers. What do we call regular numbers? Regular numbers we call a constant. Not the same thing. The coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So what's the coefficient of n? 1. Good review. All right, so I can combine these two constants. Don't forget about the signs. What's -1 and -3? -4. I'm combining them, so I'm adding them. I'm bringing down my n. I'm bringing down my equal sign, and I'm bringing down that -10. Now we actually have a one-step equation, right? What's being done to the n? No. Well, I mean, it is, but that doesn't do anything for it. What's being done to this n? They're doing what to it? Subtracting 4 from it. So what do I have to do to it to undo subtracting 4? Add 4. And whatever I do to the right side of the equal sign, I have to do to the left. So now I'm drawing my big line to show that I'm going down these columns. What's -10 plus 4? -6. I'm bringing down my equal sign. I still just have the n, and 4 minus the 4, that became 0. So n equals -6. And again, you could go back through. -6 minus 1 would put me at -7, minus 10 would put me at that -10. Okay, it works, it solves. Okay, what can I combine in number 6? 6k and -3k. So I'm bringing down my -18. I'm bringing down my equal sign. I'm looking at my coefficients. I have a 6 and a -3. What's 6 minus 3? 3. So I'm left with 3k. So again, this is just a one-step equation. What's being done to the k? What's being done? Okay, what does it mean when I have a number next to a letter? Excellent. It's being multiplied by 3. So what do I have to do to both sides? Divide it by 3. Because that way, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I'm left with k, just 1k on the right. That fraction bar means to divide. -18 divided by 3 equals what? -6. Well done. So 5 and 6 were the same. What can I combine for number 7? P and 4p. So what's my coefficient of p? 1. So I'm just saying 1 plus the 4 is how many p? 5p. That is a lot of p. Bring down your 10. Har, har, har. What's being done to the p? Being multiplied by 5. So I'm going to divide it by 5. Anything divided by itself is 1. So I have 1p on the right. 10 divided by 5 is, of course, 2. All right, 4x and another x makes a total of 5x equals -15. I feel like they made these easier towards the end. What do I know? Divide both sides by 5. This makes 1, so 1x equals -3. Very good. -15 divided by 5 is -3. Combining these. Ooh, this one's really nice. Well, maybe not. What's 3a minus 4a? Is it just a? Look at my signs though. My bigger number is negative, so I actually have negative A. If negative A equals negative 5, what would positive A equal? The opposite of that. Good. So I could show that I could divide by negative 1 if that helps, or I could multiply by negative 1. Either way, that would give us positive A is equal to 5, which makes sense, right? The opposite of A is the opposite of 5, so A must equal 5. Finally, what can we combine in number 10? 3k and negative 4. So we have, this is very similar, right? We end up with a negative k, but don't forget to bring down the plus 5 equals 10. Again, we're back to a two-step equation like we were on the front side on page 4. So I undo it by subtracting the same number from both sides. I'm bringing down my negative k. 5 minus 5 is 0. That goes away. I'm bringing down my equal sign. 10 minus 5 is what? 5. So again, this is a little bit different because the opposite of k is equal to 5. So k must equal what? Negative 5. Those negatives get a little bit tricky, but if you think them through and either multiply them by negative 1 or divide by negative 1, you can easily get a positive version of the variable, which is what we want. All right, so your practice today is page 6. So be sure you're getting that done. You have 20 minutes. So my suggestion would be to get this page done, right? Go back and finish any problems if you left any problems on page 3 yesterday. So make sure your packet's complete through page 6. Then go back and be sure you have completed both the distributive property and combining like terms boon cards. Remember, if you do get those done, to please turn them in Google Classroom. Go back and double check that you did the two-step review, both the pixel art and the boom deck. And then if all of those things are done and turned in, you can work on Alex. But you have almost 20 minutes, so you should have lots of time to be working. Work. All right. Yep, what can you combine? The negative 4 and the 5. Yep.